Journalists are writers of first rough draft of history, they say, and time may have altered the form and style of information dissemination, but some things never change. The Nigerian Constitution guarantees freedom of speech and freedom to receive and impart information without interference. Understandably, the freedom is not absolute, and there are instances where the government have been accused of attempting to shrink the civil space with draconian sanctions or fines.
Today, the broadcast media, they are practically operating on their toes because you don't even know what to say, and they will not clamp down on you. The regulatory agency would always make reference to existing laws, maybe the broadcast code. There is now the need for a review.
The media should monitor governance and hold government accountable to the people. Now, what we've discovered is that government recognizes that, but they then put obstacles on our path through other legislations that will make it difficult for us to carry out the obligation imposed on us by the Constitution. It shouldn't be the NBC that would make allegations of violation of the code that would then decide that you had actually violated, and then will also go ahead and impose fines. That is like you are the accuser, you are the prosecutor, and you are the judge in your own case.
Objectivity, fairness, and balance are values that have long guided journalism, but in the rapidly changing media environment where news consumption is only a click away, the debate over censorship keeps hovering around regulations and whether there's too much information in public space.
The theme for this year's World Press Freedom Day is information as a public good, and as the public seek this information that would impact their health, their finances, and sustainable development, the media, on the other hand, would be concerned about the production, distribution, and the reception of their content.
Alabi Williams is the editor of the Guardian newspaper. He believes a lot is attached to press freedom.
What does it mean to be a journalist in today's Nigeria?
Between last year and this year, the economy has been really tough, and it's particularly tough for the media. The independent, the private media. That you have to source for your materials by yourself. You don't get subventions from government, whereas the responsibility is huge. It is a constitutional responsibility, to be a journalist.
The Reporter Without Borders World Press Freedom Index ranked Nigeria 115 out of 180 countries in its 2020 surveys. But on the bright side, Nigeria is said to be enjoying media pluralism with more than 100 media organizations in the country. Dari Ido, Channels Television News.
Now let's discuss this a bit more. I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by the Chief Executive Officer of Vanguard Newspapers and the former President of the Nigeria Guild of Editors, Mr. Gbenga Adefaye. Thanks a lot for joining us on the news at 10.
Thank you and good evening.
Well, good evening. Let's just move straight into it. Yes, there's been a lot of progress, but would you say journalists on this side of the continent here in Nigeria have anything to cheer?
Sincerely speaking, not too much to share. Why, yes, there's plurality where there is democracy, all of that. Of course, with the ICT intrusion, you can say, yes, a lot of development has happened. But the truth remains that the practice of journalism here is still hampered by overreaction from the state, by suspicion, by harassment, by intimidation, and of course by the economic deprivation. So, like I said, not too much to share, but we are making progress.
Yes, this year's theme is information for public good. How do you balance that public good with the calls for sensitivity? I mean, you keep hearing we should be sensitive because of what is going on right now in the country. How do you balance the need to do good in the eyes of the public against that call for sensitivity?
Well, I think the press will just have to continue to do its job. This call for sensitivity by who and for whom? This country belongs to all of us. There are principles for practice of journalism, fairness, balance, accuracy. I think those should be the primary concern of the journalist. Say the truth, separate fact from fiction, and then let those who want to be sensitive continue to remain sensitive. There will always be disagreement on what constitutes the correct thing to do between the state actors and the press, because the state actors generally do not agree that the press should be the monitor. They would rather work in closeness while the press will demand openness. So to answer your question, follow the principles, be fair, be accurate, and then the sensitivity can take care of itself. We believe that once you follow the rule of law, there is justice, there is equity. That is the extreme for us of nationalism, not as defined by closest operators.
All right. Chief Executive Officer of the Vanguard newspaper and the former president of the Nigeria Guild of Editors, Mr. Gbenga Adefaye. Thanks a lot for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you very much. Good evening.